Good morning WTU, this is your founder Phil Monk. I just thought I'd give you a quick live feed since my last one wasn't very positive. I was in quite a bad way. Truth be told, I'm still in quite a bad way. I've had several days bed rest and can't say I feel any better for it, but the show must go on and all that sort of stuff. It's been quite an interesting week really. There's been loads of ridiculous rumours and accusations and a few painful home truths that have been out this weekend and this week, so it's been interesting to receive those. I'm grateful for them as well. I haven't got the means to address them all right now, but these issues will be addressed through live feeds because they're the best way. More than likely once I've recovered from Know Your Roots Eco Fest, I would say. But I think it's important that things get addressed. I've always believed in transparency, so I'd like to try and address any concerns that anyone might have about the quality and the direction that WTU is going in. Good morning, Claire. Hope you're well, sister. So today, thanks to a team of volunteers, basically, I will be heading off towards Birmingham. Morning, Mandy. I have my mother-in-law, I should say, not my real mum, but my mother-in-law, who's probably better than my real mum, actually. So I've got my mum, who, as I call her, who's staying to look after our children for her as well. Lou helps me get round the NEC to try and spread the WTU message, to try and raise as much support and awareness as we can. And as we always try and do, is to whip up some some donations of products that we can then raffle off to you guys that donate on a monthly basis to try and raise money for the WTU merchandise and for the campaigns and for the leaflets and events that we attend. As you'll see by the photos of the stall from Product Earth and what you'll see from over this weekend, everything that you'll see that's WTU is basically a product of your donations. So you know, that's all thanks to everyone else's support there that this is even happening. Sorry. Fact is I shouldn't be going. Fact is I should just be curling up in bed where it doesn't hurt. But I'm going because I've been offered a platform, and I like to think we should get on any platform we're offered so we can start telling our truths. I've spoken at places that I didn't anticipate speaking, or maybe wouldn't have even desired to speak. But at the end of the day, a soapbox is a soapbox, and I've got something I need to shout about, so I'm going to jump on any soapbox I can and shout about it, in the hope that the people in the audience might change their minds and start shouting about it with me. And if more people start shouting about the same thing, then like I say, we might get some change. So I'm going to push on. Lou's going to get the car loaded up. I'm going to sit around like a spare part, because that's all I am at the minute. Blah 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 man. So I am blah 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 man. I will be on the panel tomorrow with Simpa Carter and Callie Blackwell, who I've already met several times and have the great privilege and honour of being in this campaign and fight with. I'm two people with decency and integrity there. And also I'll be meeting for the first time Dan Hera, who I'll actually be able to ask, how do I pronounce your surname, actually, rather than guessing like I have been since I started popping his dad's beans, let's put it that way. So it'll be dead interesting to meet Dan. And like I say, it's all about trying to network. I've learnt that these conferences and expos, a lot of it's about networking and getting to meet people on the ground. Just because I happen to have a conversation with someone, by the way, does not mean, you know, I'm suddenly their best friend and I'm suddenly, you know, waving their flag. It's really difficult. I've noticed in the past other activists, I'm not going to try and mention names here because I don't like to, but other activists who do other groups who are trying to do their vision, if you like, just get attacked left, right and centre, and silly rumours get made, or unfounded rumours without any evidence to back them up get made, is what I should say. Not silly rumours, they might be true, but unfounded without evidence statements get made, such as like I'm funded by the pharmaceutical company, which is fucking hilarious. But you know, you kind of get attacked and it's not nice, but you have to just be tough about it and suck it up. Similar to what's said, I've had some interesting comments from a friend actually. It's true, I didn't realise a lot of things that were happening inside WTU because I don't see much of what happens in WTU. I'd like it if you could all just be a bit nicer to each other, please. Can we all just talk to each other, a bit more love and respect and common courtesy? Can we all stop insulting nasty names, whether it's admin or moderator or member, whoever the hell it is? Can we all just please talk nicely to each other? I know our passions get high because when you're living in suffering like this all the time, and there's an answer, and that the answer you might get put in prison for, and they're lying people in Westminster to make it so, it makes us angry. I get the anger. I feel angry a lot of the time. If I'm not living in fear, maybe I'm living in anger. It's one or the other. But we've got to stop being angry with each other, is all I would encourage from people. So I've been reading a lot of comments, and it upsets me, it hurts me to see people talking to each other in that way, regardless of background, of whatever background. So, I'm going to implore and beseech all of you, just be a bit nicer to each other, would you? Why insult each other? We're all fighting a fight in our own way. I saw a post about what is an activist. Well, I'm not very active physically. I don't do very much. Might hold my phone, Not much activity going on. People call me an activist. I don't know what an activist is. Anyone that's trying to do whatever they can in whatever way, shape or form to actively change an unjust law. So an activist, in my mind, to me the most riskiest and purest form of activism would be someone that on their usual routines, like the school run, the work run, shop run, whatever, we all have our routines, our circles of life that we go through, where we see virtually the same people, maybe not friends, but people we pass on our rhythms of life. When we start telling those people our truths about cannabis, and we see them on a daily basis, we risk social suicide, as it were, where we might be ostracised by these people that might say good morning on our walk to work or school or whatever. And then if we start telling our truths, like, wearing that everywhere I go, no matter where I go, I wear it. It's not a massive form of activism, but it generates conversation, it generates dialogue, it changes people's minds. And it also puts me at great risk of being attacked by people verbally, physically, whether that's the police or people on the street. Just having this sign on me, this symbol, puts me and whoever wears it at risk. But it also generates conversation. Like I was in the post office posting out your goods the other day, your raffle prizes and your t-shirts, and 3 people's minds were changed in that queue purely because of having that patch on. Is that activism? Don't know. I don't know. I would not like to judge anybody personally, mainly because I believe in the 10 Commandments, so I'm not judging anyone, and I think everyone else should stop judging each other as well, personally, but maybe I'm judging people there. But it'd be nice if we did just stop judging each other and let people crack on and do what they're meant to be doing. I feel like I'm waffling a bit now. Be nice. That was what that was all about, man. Just be nice, please. So, I've taken the liberty of booking the electric wheelchair, which, your donations are paying for that. I'm sorry, because I can't afford it. It's £15 a day. I hope you don't mind. That will get me around the NEC to save me having to walk. I have got my Beast, but the Beast is too powerful to go around the NEC, so I can't take the Beast in there. And the Beast rips my shoulders to pieces as well, so she's also too powerful for me. Any objections, please let me know, and I'll resign. Some big reflection going on, lots of reflection going on about the direction. When I've got back from Know Your Roots, I will be focusing predominantly on getting this bloody case bundle assembled so it can do what we set out to do, basically, and stop doing all these other things that, I never set out to be a campaigner, an activist, doing protests and conferences and stuff. All I set out for was to get a solicitor to fight our case. Speaking of solicitor, actually, I've got to address this one while we're at it. Someone's put in what activist means. brilliant. That's a great move. So, solicitor. So I have to keep gathering my thoughts because pain's quite a distractor. Yeah, anyone that doesn't know, I started WTU, We the Undersigned. Excuse me. 18 months ago, March 2018, I decided it's a human rights issue, we should all be able to access cannabis. I wanted to get a solicitor to fight my human rights case. I was in lots of other groups. I thought it was more than me, it's a bigger issue than just me, so I thought I'd ask other people to undersign to my letters to every human rights solicitor in the country that I was going to contact. Every solicitor I wrote to basically refused to take our case. Hundreds and then thousands of people responded to this invitation to undersign to our letters. So basically every letter that was sent, anyone in the group was undersigning to it by default. So it was a class action of all of us against the government, the Home Office and their prohibition of cannabis laws. They call it a war on cannabis, we call it a war on the canna community. So I spent over a year trying to find a solicitor. They all said no because too expensive, too political, too expensive and take too long. So in addition to searching for solicitors, I kind of ended up organising protests, attending conferences, going to village halls and hosting talks, and kind of got just drawn into doing things really. It was never my intention to do it, but it happened, so I went with it because that's where the soapbox was, so I got on the soapbox, just bang my drum and shout about it. And then eventually someone shared into the group a news article, maybe the Independent or the Telegraph, saying, have you read about this solicitor? Have you written to this one yet? And it was talking about a new solicitor law firm that were focusing on cannabis law. Mackle Turner Garrett, it was a new law firm, and the member in the group, I can't actually remember which member, asked if I'd written to them, and I said no, I haven't written to them, but I will do now, and literally I wrote to them straight away. I'd read the article, wrote to the solicitor, and within 24 hours I had a response. It was a very detailed response, had a couple of hours conversation, at least an hour's conversation I think with the solicitor, that turned out to be Robert Jappy. So Robert Jappy said, very political, very expensive, and it will take a long time, same as every other solicitor said basically. He said, you make a very convincing and compelling argument, but how are you going to fight this case? How are you going to fund it? And I said, well, there's 5 million cannabis consumers in the UK. If we could all just connect with them, even if we connected with 10% of them and everyone put £1 in the pot, we'd have enough legal fees all day long to take them to court. So that's how I thought we should fund it. I said to him, we should do it by crowdfunding from the canna community against the government. As many of us as we can get together, put whatever little bit we can in the pot, so as a community, a collective, we take the government to court. That was what WTU was always about, and started to happen. Turned out Robert Jappy also works for the CTA, as it's called, the Cannabis Trade Association. Now this organisation I don't know enough about, and I really need to learn more about, because I'm sick of hearing, rumours I suppose, but without the evidence with the rumour to back it up, to substantiate the comment, which I'm about evidence, me. I need to see stuff to really believe anything. So I've seen lots of comments in the group and various other places saying that like CTA and WTU have got some sort of relationship. There's none at all. There are business members in our group, WTU, that are registered with CTA. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, so I'm not going to comment on that. And they also happen to be in WTU. And there are also a couple of business owners and group owners in WTU that are on the directorship of CTA that support WTU. But that doesn't mean that there's a link between the CTA and the WTU. And it's like if you stand next to someone, have a photograph and shake your hand, that's it, all kinds of things, and get judged and decided when it isn't actually the case. I don't actually know what the truth of anything is. I only know my truth. I only know the truth I have about cannabis and our government's deception, and that's all I want to try and uncover. anyone else got any other truths, present them with evidence, which is what I'm going to do to the Home Office. Which means what everyone's undersigning to now is the case bundle that we're assembling. So we have 689 surveys that were received. It turns out there was pressure put onto people to complete these surveys that people think was unfair pressure. Perhaps it was, I don't know. If someone felt pressure, then it was wrong. That's all I can say, so my apologies about that. I guess it was just a determination to try and get as many as possible, to try and make the strongest case possible, to go against the Home Office, the Home Secretary. Now, we haven't got a Home Secretary at the minute, or a Home Office, because we've got a government in limbo. So actually the WTU now is building a case against the next government, whoever that may be. And we intend to build a case with so much evidence that cannabis isn't this harmful Schedule 1 Class B drug that they keep stating it is, and it's actually a highly nutritious herb, a spiritual creative aid. It's great for relaxation, it's safer than alcohol, and it's a safer herbal health remedy than many of the pharmaceutical drugs. And that no one should be prosecuted for choosing cannabis. That's literally what we're going to try and prove. If you want to help prove that, that's brilliant. Get on board and help push the ship. Do you know what? Ship. Just triggered memory to last night. I believe in transparency, and I'm too honest for my own good, is what my dad tells me. I cried myself to sleep last night, everyone. Yeah, I'll tell you that as a grown man. And I'll also tell you that with a smile on my face, because I couldn't cry for over a decade because of PTSD from my childhood traumas. I lost the ability to cry. I did not feel any emotion for anyone at all, or any circumstances. That was my survival mechanism for what I'd endured as a youngster when I shouldn't have done. So my wife can attest to this. I could see the most tragic thing in front of me, and I would not care a damn. My heart was stone. Felt nothing. And then after therapy, I always hear the sirens. My heart's now going, are they coming for me? Are they coming for me? Are they coming for me? Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? Is it? Are they passing? Are they passing? Have they gone? Have they gone? Oh, fire engine probably. That's my life, unfortunately. Live in constant fear of them bursting through my door. It's no wonder I have a state of anxiety, is it? That's what happens when you get up and be vocal and honest and all that sort of stuff and put your head above the parapet. Anyway, WTU finally found a solicitor. It happened to be Robert Jappy, who happened to also represent CTA. I mean, that's the only link. I've had him in my living room. We've spoken closely. When I say him, I mean Robert Jappy. He came here to my house, saved me travelling to London. We spoke in great detail about any potential conflict of interest on his part between CTA and WTU, and any influence of CTA and WTU. And I've had it from him face to face, man to man, eye to eye, that there is none. Okay, sorry, this message. And there is none. He doesn't see any conflict of interest. He's advising the CTA and all of their business holders and any other business that he works with how to work within the current law. That's what he's been hired to do by them, how to work within it. And we've hired him, WTU, we've hired him how to challenge the law. Two different purposes. And I believe he's got his heart behind the job. Anyone can go and see him, phone him, contact him, ask him if they want to. And see what you think, find it for yourself. After all the shit that's been said the last few days, I kind of wish I hadn't bothered all of this. Really wish I hadn't bothered. But we're in it now, the journey's on. There's no backing out, there's no stopping. Got to do the job that was set out to do, which is to build the bundle, put it to the barrister and see what the barrister says. And then we'll have a big review. On that note, I'm going to go get ready for the NEC, try and spread the word there as I can. Try and get as much information as I can, get as much support as I can, and then it's know your roots, and then it's a big rest. Assemble the case, challenge this government, fight for our freedom, and the prosecution of peaceful people seeking to assuage their symptoms or alleviate their life with natural herbal cannabis. For the poor person who can't afford anything in life, which is me, to be able to get a seed, put it in soil, grow their own plants. That's what WT is about. Anyway, gotta go. Lots of love.